So tonight's topics, you can see there, and we will go through each and every one of those tonight. There you go.
So this is the particulars. I'm Lacey.
And I'm Nick.
And fantastically, we now have on screen our names. So in case we forget who we are,
right.
we can just look at the screen. But anyway, quick reminder before we get into anything, everything you hear from us tonight is our opinion and our analysis, which is based on public record. It's not legal advice, so keep that in mind as we go through all of this, okay? And where a case is still working its way through the system, that means the presumption of innocence applies. Full stop. Every time, no exceptions. What are you doing? You look weird standing over there. And
Sorry,
our son's over here.
Our son just walked in.
He wants to be on the stream. He just doesn't want to. Yeah, everybody heard you say yes. Anyways, no exceptions for how the headline reads. So a lot of times I feel like when we're going through the headlines, everybody's a scroller. I know everybody scrolls and we catch glimpses, and it's really easy sometimes for a headline to come off confusing when you first read it. So that's kind of where we wanted to. And again, we do have a podcast where we do deep dive
analysis.
Analysis. Thank you. And that people kept telling us in our, normal lives when we would have conversations, they were like, hey, you need to do this more often. Well, if you've heard any of the podcasts that we do, the Casewalker Chronicles, I cannot do the research, the record request pulls, all of that fast enough to get that turnaround time to where people are like, yeah, this is great. So now that's where we have the particulars. So we do go live every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday at 9 p.m. TikTok is our main home right now. Currently, we actually put out a poll trying to see what people would prefer. But because some people don't have TikTok and we are using OBS now, we are able to do 2 streams at once. So you can catch us on YouTube Live. All of our replays are on YouTube, and our TikTok lives are here.
Now our lives will be on YouTube, the full lives.
Yes.
Because they are there and it's
showing
recorded
right now.
And it's there. So
we love it. Again, Friday, that was a big hiccup. And nothing during. It was post live and trying to push out the replay. And I almost wanted to just say, okay, done, moving on. But we're here. We're in episode 4 today. And as I know, Nick had the
initial graphic with
there you go.
Our poster.
I call it the poster is what I save them as. But
our first topic on the poster.
This one's a big one.
Whose law governs the sea?
You skipped the bridge, sir.
Oh, yeah. We got to talk before.
Because there's a lot of people right now that are hopping into this chat
that
and
didn't
that are
get
hopping
it.
onto the
They
live.
weren't here Friday.
They didn't see Friday.
Okay.
So
all right. Look, it didn't happen. See? It's not there.
Okay, whatever. Well, first, we're going to do a quick recap.
Yeah.
Okay?
Since Friday.
And we're going to kind of talk about this. So we talked about the Tyler Robinson, Charlie Kirk case. And this is the one that didn't go the way anyone watching expected. The preliminary hearing wrapped last Friday, which I believe that was July 10th, correct?
Yes.
Because today is the 13th? Yeah. After 5 days of testimony, and everyone assumed it would end the normal way, with closing arguments, then a ruling on probable cause. Instead, Judge Graf granted the defense's request to skip straight to ruling and go to written briefs instead. So here's where it actually stands. The state's opening brief is due July 28th. The defense response is due August 11th. The state's reply is due August 18th. And oral arguments, the actual moment this gets decided, aren't until September 1st. That's roughly 7 more weeks before anyone in this case or anyone knows if this case is bound over for trial. And we talked about that on Friday. So if you want some more in-depth coverage of that, again, catch that replay. It's on YouTube now. And remember that this hearing exists. And we talked about this Friday again. Did the prosecutors show probable cause to move forward? That's a much lower legal standard than proving guilt beyond a reasonable doubt. It's not a guilt or innocent determination. It's basically whether we can move forward from this point.
Right.
And again, much more in depth on that in the replay.
Mm-hmm. I want to give a shout out to, I don't know if that's J Ray or Ja Ray who joined. We've got a new follower.
I love it. Thank you for
That's
the follow.
awesome. Thank you so much.
And my squeaky chair.
And also on a quick note from Friday, Nolan Wells, the Mississippi teenager who died after a 4th of July trip to Horn Island, as of tonight, no cause or manner of death has been publicly released.
Right.
The state medical examiner is still waiting on toxicology report. The family commissioned an independent autopsy, and results were expected as early as last Friday. So,
Right.
just keeping up with some of the stories from Friday.
So this one.
Hang on. What does that say? I can't read it.
That's way too tiny for me to read.
I know. Hang on. I got to read what TikTok is trying to tell us.
Hey, Jess. Well, we can see it. So
Yeah,
thank you,
it's
TikTok,
fine.
but we've got it.
Yeah.
We
Hey,
can take it
Jess.
from here. Hello, hello. You guys are getting here just in time. We just did our recap. We discussed, again, our analysis, our opinion, not legal advice, and we are literally getting ready to jump in to the first segment. So, without further ado, most of you, if you are new to us, don't probably know this, but Nick has insomnia.
Yeah.
He doesn't sleep.
It
So,
sucks.
and I will tell you, the past couple of nights, because of my nocturnal habits, he has started sleeping with a face mask,
An
or
eye
an
mask.
eye mask. And I will say sometimes when I roll over at night and I see, but I say that because this is one of those things. I am a documentary nut. I love all of them. I follow them closely. I want to know when the new ones are coming out, and I like to watch them. And thank you, Haley. I thought I looked adorable as well, but you know. And I did promise that Monday you would have new hair, and Monday's here, and there is new hair. So from Friday to Monday, look, ta-da, new hair.
And still, nobody said anything about it.
What do you mean? Haley did. She said that.
Oh, how cute you look.
Yeah.
Aw.
Pay attention.
You just always look cute. She
Aw.
didn't reference your hair, though.
But I knew what she was talking about.
I know.
Anywho, focused. We're focused today. So, anyways, thank you. See?
Amy's in the chat.
Okay, sure,
Yeah,
sure. So,
that's right.
Nick will get in bed, and I like the lamp on. I like to have my phone. I like to kind of have my snacks because that's just the way I am, right? So I will turn on something, and a lot of times he falls asleep while we're watching this. So I say that to say we loosely
Mm-hmm.
watched this documentary.
Yep.
Okay. So I'm going to tell you that we watched it, but just know that it more than likely is just me who is start to finish. Oh, thank you. I think I have them in blue. I was trying to think where I got these. But I think it's I Buy Direct is where I got this, and then another blue pair.
Those aren't Gooders?
No, these
Oh,
are my real
okay.
glasses.
Oh, they're the prescription ones?
Yes.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Hey,
I literally have, because I do.
how am I
have,
supposed to keep up with everything?
I know. Quit side. I am trying to get through this.
Yeah,
See,
it says to read this.
I'm trying to. All right. So, anyways, this new documentary on Netflix. Y'all need to come in the chat with this one because I cannot be alone with this one. On the Costa Concordia disaster, shipwrecked nightmare at sea. And it's. Had anybody watched that yet? Before I keep going. Sorry, our dog is trying to get in her little nest down here. I don't know if you can see her or not, but.
I hope she doesn't kill her mics again.
Yeah, sorry if she does in advance.
No, she's good.
So, has anybody watched that one yet? You've seen it? Okay, good. So, you're kind of going to know some of this. It's on my watch list, but not yet. It was good. It was good. That's all I'm going to say. Okay. And because I thought, maybe when we get into it all kind of, anyways, I hadn't heard about this. Like, I had never heard about this. And I felt like, how did this, I guess it wasn't in my news circle, but how did I not know about this? So when I'm watching this, I was just amazed. But anyways, it's a really good, I put in here excuse to explain something, but one of the things that kept coming up after I learned a little bit more, and the documentary kind of put a little bit of that in there, but not much. So how do you figure out whose law applies when something happens on the water? So the quick version, too late. The Costa Concordia was flying the Italian flag, and she ran aground in Italian territorial waters off the island of, and I think they said Giglio is how they said it in the documentary.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm going to say it that way. If I'm saying that wrong, blame watching this in the middle of the night.
Yeah, that's what it was on the documentary.
That's what I thought. So that's what I'm going to go with. But that's why the criminal case, and I think it was Captain Chatino, was that? Went through the Italian court. The flag state jurisdiction and the fact that the wreck happened inside Italy's own territorial sea point the same direction. When the vessel's flag and the water it's in belong to the same country, the jurisdiction question mostly answers itself. And I say that to say, we also talked last week about the Wells case.
Mm-hmm.
And if anybody's actually kind of really following some of that along, you'll understand that it was Horn Island. Yeah. And that makes things a little bit messier.
That case is a lot messier.
A lot messier, right. It's a barrier island off the Mississippi coast. And depending on exactly where something happens out there, you can have up to 4 different agencies with a legitimate claim to jurisdiction. So, for instance, the Jackson County Sheriff's Office, because it's technically within county lines. You also have the Mississippi Department of Marine Resources, because it's state coastal water. And then the U.S. Coast Guard, which may have authority depending on the nature of the incident and its statutory jurisdiction. And the National Park Service, because Horn Island is part of the Gulf Islands National Shoreline, which is federal land.
Yeah, and usually anything that's federal land goes through executive jurisdiction, which would be the Park Service. So, park rangers and then park investigators, and a lot of times they want to take over. Speaking from my background, being in a federal agency, when I was at an Air Force base, anything that happened on base, we had exclusive jurisdiction. It was all federal jurisdiction. However, only the flight line pertained to that federal jurisdiction, because where we were at Grand Forks Air Force Base, Grand Forks County had jurisdiction over all of the housing.
Right.
Even though it was an Air Force base and we had our own security forces, we had our own OSI detachment on that base that I was a part of, Grand Forks County could potentially handle the cases that happened on Grand Forks Air Force Base in the housing area, and also some of the base area.
Yeah.
Anything, however, that was at a certain point on the flight line and beyond in the flight line territory, because there was a lot of grassland out there that was part of the flight line as well, even though it wasn't tarmac. That was handled in an executive jurisdiction, which was exclusive to OSI.
So I think, because what I hear when I hear you talk, and again, my background's a little bit different because of just, I do have a criminal justice degree, but I didn't actually work
learn
law. Yeah.
Right. You don't learn a lot about jurisdiction.
No, I mean, we learned like the basics of jurisdiction. And I think what the key takeaway is for me personally when it comes to jurisdiction is it's never straightforward. When we talk about the justice system as a whole, I feel like there's never a straightforward answer 99% of the time anyway, because there's so many layers.
And lines. And,
yes.
And they get crossed.
And when you see stuff in, mainstream media, a lot of times what's put forth is straightforward,
and you would think it would be go down this path, but it doesn't always go down that path.
And so we're not
it's
saying
different agencies that are investigating something, so than what you would assume.
And what I was thinking about, like with this case, I'm not saying that anything is wrong or they've done anything wrong. Honestly, what I'm saying is if you look at a case like this, you see that there's potentially 4 different jurisdictions, which I don't know anybody, because if we just take the 2 of us and we say, okay, we're going to discuss this one thing, or we're going to go see this movie. We both have different ideas of what movie, and then we watch the same movie together. We're going to have different versions of what that movie, like the key items that took place in the movie. So you're going to have different narratives, right? Or opinions.
Right.
So imagine 4 different agencies all trying to do the same thing at the same time.
Yeah.
In
so
theory.
Let us know. You can DM us or you can send it in the chat. Let us know how you feel about the jurisdictional issues when it comes to not necessarily crimes like this, but
what's the general understanding? Like,
right.
like when you see this, what are you thinking? Like, did you even stop to consider or think, what's the jurisdictional nightmare?
Because it's I will say that in law enforcement, it is an incredible gray area that's out there with jurisdiction on what agency takes a case. So
see
yeah,
exactly.
based off
so
of
it's
movies
like,
and shows. And that's not always the case, because a movie and a show isn't going to show you all of those intricacies when it comes to dealing with jurisdiction. So
I don't think that, I don't know. I love Chicago. Like Chicago Wednesdays is my thing.
Out to sea is fend for yourself.
Hey, but what was, okay, again, I don't like to just base everything off of the documentary, because I know that we all know. I know because I do a podcast, and I know when I'm trying to, and it's even harder for me personally, because I try to do just the facts, like based off of, the public record. But when we're creating these, documentaries, there's an editorial process that takes place.
Yeah.
And we're in, yes, okay, it could be are we going to do like a 1 hour? Are we going to do a, like limited series? But they only usually, again, there's always something left out. I'm not contesting, or I'm not arguing what was left out. I don't know. I haven't done a lot of research, other than I will be honest and tell you that when I say I did research, my research was laying in bed till probably 3 o'clock in the morning. And it wasn't even the case.
No.
It was the fact that I wanted to see this ship, because it was literally there it had hit like a reef.
Yeah.
Really close to the island,
reef.
right?
Yep.
And it literally was stuck inside the hull of the ship, and it remained
there. The rock
there.
reef broke off and stuck to the side of the ship, and it caused a huge gash. Yeah.
Yeah.
And cruise ships are massive.
And that's what was so
huge.
intriguing to me, because like it was a whole ordeal, and it was there. I want to say it took like 2 years before they could like move the ship.
Yeah.
So the people that lived on this island just had to sit here and look at this massive shipwreck.
Yeah. So as far as you're asking about buoys to mark jurisdiction lines, no, there aren't.
There's not really, no.
There's geographic coordinates, yes, but even still, it can cross jurisdictional lines to where it is like it was with the Wells case.
So I do have a question.
Federal, county, and
so we went out.
The Marine.
What day did we go out? Friday? Saturday?
Saturday night.
Yeah, we went to Louisville. So here's the thing I was thinking about, because I was looking at the map.
Yeah.
So if you're looking at your map, not like your phone map.
Well, the Ohio River.
Yeah.
It's either or.
No,
Yep.
Because there's a line.
Yes,
there's a dotted line
that
goes along there,
yes,
and I was like,
there is,
it favors. So it looks like more of the river is towards Kentucky.
Yes, that does. That is true. That is true, because if you went down to the ground, that is where the line is. However, because it's water, it's different.
I get all that, but I was just thinking in my head, and I was going to ask that question in the car.
Mm-hmm.
Which literally, this is what I mean when I say we have these conversations.
There's also a portion of the river there in Louisville that is between the locks and so far upriver that is Coast Guard.
I've never.
Yep. Because you have to have Coast Guard and captain credentials to be in that area.
I don't believe that.
Yep, and you have to have a certain radio band and be able to reach out to Coast Guard radio with your vessel.
See,
to
the
be
more you
in
know,
that area.
Like, this is just one of those things. Like this is what I find fascinating. And I know that we can't have this much communication around all news stories because like I said at the top of this, I really struggled with what I was going to put in tonight's episode.
But there are people who are way more in the know than we are when it comes to like the jurisdiction in the ocean, in the Gulf, in Italy, in the Mediterranean, whatever it may be. We, coming as kind of lay people who don't have a lot of knowledge in that, other than some criminal justice background, some, federal agency background, we can see what we've dealt with and we put our interpretation on that.
Well, and I don't even think I don't like to say interpretation. What I really want people to get out of the lives, the replays, is that
there's way more information out there.
And it's the yearning for sitting there saying, okay, well, I saw this news story. What can I take from that? What should I look up or, and I know some people are like, oh, I don't care. I got the glimpse of it. That's all I need.
Yeah.
But for me, when I see stuff like this, like you can see, obviously, I watched this documentary and I'm like, okay, well, now how do you dismantle a ship? Like this thing was huge. And I'm like, how do they, and then I got down in this whole process where they had to, it was a whole thing. Mm-hmm. And then I wanted to see all the photos. And there was a guy that, got in there and took some pictures of the inside of the ship and all these things. So I went down a rabbit hole and it was just pretty interesting to me. And that's kind of where this stems from, because I want people to look things a little more in depth instead of surface value. Right? Does that make sense? Like, that's kind of what my thinking is with that. But again, to be clear, we're not saying anything went wrong and we don't know. We're not going to speculate because at this point, I think it's just so early in. I just want people to think about that as they hear some of this information coming out from the news, that it's not necessarily cut and dry, simple, black and white. Right. I think that this case, you'll see 4 agencies, overlapping authority. I think the coordination could potentially play into, outcome potentially.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah, it's not even close to.
I mean, even when you start to think about like chain of custody or like standard operating procedure for each different jurisdiction, and I cannot imagine. I feel like that's going to be a big thing, right? Mm-hmm. So I say all of that to say, no speculation at this point.
Moving right along to our next segment.
I have got this too big and it like keeps floating on my screen and I can't figure out how to fix it. Technology is not always. Oh, okay. Ta-da! Success. All right. So, did you already talk about this?
What is it? The CTA?
Yeah. You can go ahead. Tag, you're it. Because I'm gonna go.
Yeah, I talked about it. It's we're kind of breaking down everything that's useful here on TikTok and YouTube now. So just making sure we were doing replays on YouTube, but we've stopped that.
Now they're live.
Now we're able to live stream to YouTube, and you'll be able to go to our page and see the full live stream.
But I will also say, in regard to that we do have Facebook, we have Instagram, we have TikTok, and we have YouTube. And while I try to the best of my ability to keep information the same and consistent across all platforms, I do strongly suggest the sharing of all, the liking of all, subscribing of all, and following of all, because the more you know, then you can't say, oh, I had no idea. Like I had some people today that, it was interesting when I was talking to them. They said, I was on their For You page. So, sir, that's a very important thing. I see 4 minutes. I'm moving right along. When we didn't even start until 9:15, technically.
Yeah.
So, and while I was hoping your aunt was going to be on here for this one.
Yeah.
Because she asked
She's
about
the one
this.
that asked about it.
Maybe, here's what I'm thinking. I don't know. She's probably already gone to bed.
Oh, she's gone to bed. She's got to get up early.
I was saying we could push that one and, flop the positioning of them. but we'll go ahead. We'll just go straight into it. Is anybody that was here tonight here Friday night and remember what we said we were going to talk about tonight? Gold star in the chat if anybody can remember. Same. Okay. So on Friday, we had our live, and Nic's aunt asked about PuppyGram. So I told her that we would talk about it tonight, and I'm hoping that she at least catches the, a replay when she sees this. But we're going to talk about this, okay? And the reason we're doing that was because it was too big of a story for me to throw into Friday's crazy, crowded schedule as it was.
So bear with us. There's a lot of information on this. And the reason being is because it's close to home. And
it is very citation heavy, is what I will say. Okay. So the short version. The Fernandez family bought a puppy from PuppyGram, and the dog was later diagnosed with parvo. They are in dispute with PuppyGram CEO Miles Handy over what the company owes them. So separately, Clarksville actually passed a revised pet store ordinance on July 8th. This isn't a proposal anymore, it's on the books. The new rules require every puppy sold in town to be examined weekly by a licensed local veterinarian with a vet sign-off confirming the animal is healthy required before any sale can go through. However, here's the legal wrinkle. So Indiana passed this statute in 2024, which is Indiana Code 15-21-6-2, that preempts local governments from banning retail sales of dogs and cats. So even if Clarksville wanted to pass a stricter ordinance targeting stores like PuppyGram, state law limits how far the town can actually go. They can regulate around the edges, like with inspections and business licensing, but they cannot ban the retail model outright. And if you can actually watch that play out in real time, local advocates who pushed for the new ordinance are on record calling it a good start, but saying it doesn't go far enough, specifically because state law limits what the town is allowed to do. That's not a coincidence. That's preemption happening live in a mall in southern Indiana. Okay, so here's where we actually need to correct something we almost got wrong ourselves prepping. Okay, so we were going to tell you Indiana doesn't have a dedicated pet lemon law. And when I say that, first of all, I was like, there's a lemon law for pets?
Hey, it's got something wrong with it.
That is horrible, first of all. But anyways, that used to be true, but it isn't anymore. Okay, so as of July 1st of 2024, Indiana has one. So it was built right into the same statute. So under Indiana Code 15-21-5-6, if a licensed veterinarian finds within 14 days of the sale that the dog was unfit for purchase due to illness or contagious or infectious disease, the customer gets a real remedy. So, for example, keep the dog and get reimbursed for reasonable vet costs up to the purchase price, or if the dog died, they get the full purchase price back plus vet costs. Parvo is exactly the kind of contagious disease this statute was written for. There's also a mandatory 3-day return window regardless of reason, and the store is required to disclose this exact remedy to every buyer before the sale. And that's where the real teeth kind of comes in. A retail pet store that violates any part of this article is committing a deceptive act that's directly actionable under Indiana's Deceptive Consumer Sales Act, Indiana Code 24-5-0.5, by either the consumer or the attorney general. So depending on exactly what PuppyGram told the Fernandez family before the sale and whether they've offered a remedy under this statute, this may not be as gray as an area as we initially thought. Of course, whether these statutory remedies actually apply here depends on the specific facts of the case and whether the legal requirements were met. We're explaining the law, not deciding who's right. And again, we're not giving you legal advice. What we're saying all of that to say that A, first, I heard about this case and was shocked. B,
we don't have the reporting yet. the full reporting of the facts of what
yes,
was
and again,
said.
it's a lot of news back and forth.
Right.
Like, the family's claiming this, the CEO is claiming that, and it's kind of from what I can see, or have found online largely. I know that because that is a mall that we kind of go to fairly
We
frequently.
used to go
Yeah, we
all
used
the
to go a
time as
lot.
kids.
And so the talk was that no one, and again, this is my interpretation of what I have seen online. I am not stating this as fact. This is my interpretation, my analysis, my opinion on the situation. So I had seen where supposedly, allegedly, PuppyGram wanted to go to Louisville or was in Kentucky or something to that effect, and it was turned down. So that's why it moved to Indiana, and Indiana was like, no, we don't want them in the mall or whatever, and there was public outcry, and then this happened. So it's kind of, in regard to this situation, it's kind of been like a snowball effect where it's been in the news pretty consistently. So I think it'll be interesting to see how it all plays out because, I didn't know that some states may or may not have had a lemon law in regard to a pet. Of course,
I did not know that.
that's why, like I said, like when I tell you that I try to vet this information to the best of my abilities, like I went back and forth trying to search for and I actually have Indiana code, and I pulled 24, 25, 26, and I'm looking through there. I'm trying. Okay. Yeah. See, I didn't know it was a thing. I don't know. I guess because I haven't really bought anything from a pet store or that's probably maybe why I didn't.
Maybe.
But I think that there's obviously do your research. If you have specific questions about that in regard to those specifics, I would reach out to an attorney, and there may or may not be an attorney who specializes in.
Oh, I'm sure there is.
Something.
There's an attorney for everything.
To that nature. I mean, maybe that would be an interesting. I'm just saying.
Yeah. But from a puppy store dispute to a very different kind.
Yeah.
Of felony filing.
You can have this one because I need to take a break. I'm going to take a step back.
Okay.
You tag
I can do that. Let me change the graphic here too.
Also, I feel like you should see our little.
Yeah.
I wish you could turn because she's
Yeah, our dog down here. She's hilarious.
She is the most has to be. She is a Velcro dog.
Oh, big time.
Mm-hmm. And this gnat.
I know. I can't get rid of him. I work down here and I see him all the time. He's my friend now. So we have
I'm
the
not
Wade,
even going to comment. I'm not going to
Wade
comment.
family case. But you don't have friends with bugs? Come on, aren't you?
No, I didn't even know the other
kid?
day when we started talking about that whole whatever.
Oh my gosh. All right.
I needed that classification.
Zaire Wade, Dwayne Wade's oldest son. That's
Have
right.
you heard about this case?
I have not. This is the first time hearing about it. Dwayne Wade, the basketball player.
Okay, so you do know the name.
I know who Dwayne Wade is.
Okay, I had no idea.
Gosh.
I was like, what? I mean, I just thought these were people. Now it
My goodness.
now it makes sense because I kept thinking, why do I not
An
know this?
extremely famous basketball player.
Oh,
Was arrested.
I don't do basketball, so.
He was arrested June 21st in Burbank, California, after police responded to a call reporting a woman screaming inside a residence. At the time, he was booked on suspicion of 3 things: domestic violence, criminal threats, and false imprisonment. He posted a $50,000 bond and was released the same day. And an emergency protective order was issued for the alleged victim. Interesting. That's the arrest. Here's the charging decision. And this is the part that actually teaches you something about how prosecutions work. On July 9th, which would have been a couple weeks after the arrest, the Los Angeles County District Attorney's Office filed a criminal complaint, and it narrowed all of that down to a single felony count: corporal injury to a cohabitant or dating partner. Under California law, the complaint alleges he willfully inflicted corporal injury resulting in a traumatic condition on a woman identified as Jane Doe, with whom he had been in a dating relationship. The complaint also lists sentencing allegations, factors like great violence and high degree of cruelty that prosecutors could point to at sentencing if he's convicted. Those are not separate charges. Same one from Friday.
I know. I've been thinking about that in my head. I'm like, well, she's talking
out
about the same one from Friday.
Yeah.
What are you talking about?
I don't know. Nat.
Oh, probably.
Yeah, it's the same one. I know
That's
it is.
probably the same one.
All right. With that being said, this is a clean, real-world example of something we say constantly on the show. An arrest is not a charge, and a charge is not a conviction. 3 allegations at arrest became 1 filed felony count. That isn't necessarily prosecutors going easy. That's prosecutors deciding what they can actually prove beyond a reasonable doubt and building the case around it. If convicted, he faces 2, 3, or 4 years.
Yeah, and we talked about, remember, refer back to Friday.
Yeah.
The ladder. We talked about, we have that level, the levels of
reasonable doubt.
Mm-hmm. So, and it's different. And again, this is one of those things sorry, I just get a little worked up about some things, but there's a classification. Demi's literally laying there like with her hand over her face. She's like, I can't. So with law, you have your state, and then you have your federal. So there's a lot of different aspects that come into play with things. And, like in regard to felonies, and what's hard for the majority of people, I guess maybe they don't really put a lot of thought into it. I don't want to say that people don't think, but for me, I'm always thinking about it specifically because I am.
Well, most people just don't deal with it.
Yeah. And like for me, I'm going to school, getting my master's in legal studies. So I always kind of take it to that legal thought. So wait, is this state law? Is this like federal law? What kind of law is this? And then I think, when I'm pulling up my stuff and I'm working on what we're going to discuss tonight, I'm like, wait, this was Colorado or this is California. I have to figure out California law in order to kind of give you an understanding of what that is, because it's all different and every state is a little bit different in regard to their code. So sometimes that's very confusing as well. So, I mean, I don't blame people. Sometimes it's like, okay, well, that's a great story. Moving on. I don't,
Yeah.
But,
well, he is set to be arraigned this Thursday, July 16th in Pasadena, where he's going to enter a plea, and we'll bring you that update on Friday, providing we have it. We should. But if you want to follow along, look up the Dwayne Wade family.
I strongly encourage people to do their own research with everything.
Mad Bark has a good question. Are there county laws or only state and federal? So you do have county codes, but those are usually fall in the realm of like business code and code violation and things like that.
So a lot of times that falls under like agencies.
Yeah.
Again, for my last class, because I'm on summer break right now, so the last class I took was, well, one of them was Intro to the U.S. Legal System.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm actually getting ready. So in the fall, so I go back in August, I'll be doing, I think it's business law, and I can't remember what the other one is. So I'll have more specifics on that, but we discussed how there are agencies, and
long story short, with only state and federal.
It's almost like a jurisdiction. Yes,
technically that's true. There are only state and federal. If you look up state code, and U.S. code being federal, state code for like Indiana is Indiana code, whatever.
Like IC,
26 dash whatever.
Hello, KO.
That is what the counties are going to be using.
Yeah.
Also,
they do have. Sorry, I'm trying not to show my toes.
They can use federal U.S. code at the county level to prosecute. However, it's prosecuted in a different type of court. because there are felony level that are federal and there are felony level that are state. So
Yeah,
when anybody hears the word felony, they think federal.
Right.
That's not always
That's
the case.
not necessarily. So there is some things like that are. Maybe one day we should do like a jurisdiction thing.
But short answer, as far as the county laws, technically, your only county laws are infraction and violation based.
Yeah.
Where you're looking at like speed limits and whether they're, turning on a right when you're not supposed to, that kind of stuff.
Or like ordinance of like you have, okay, so like say for hours, you can only, within city limits, you can only have fireworks
during certain
periods of time.
Yeah, those are more ordinances. Yeah.
Right. And it's kind of like.
Not technically laws, but.
There could be an infraction.
Right.
Or like a fine or a fee or something like that.
And they use city and county law enforcement to enforce those because
then you also have like parking. So say like if you have
same thing.
Yeah, they could have like some cities instead of it being part of law enforcement,
it's hired out.
Yes, it's like a contract, like a security type.
And they all work for the city government or county government.
So it's clear as mud.
That's a good question. Great question.
Yeah, clear as mud. I mean, and to each their own. Like there's so many. I think we could probably talk on a lot of different things for a long. I mean, it's really.
Maddie, thank you for.
Yeah, thank you for the question.
Yeah, thank you for the question. I'm glad we could break it down for you.
Yeah, that's what we're kind of trying to do because again, I know. So interesting thing. I'm just gonna say it briefly. So I reside and am a resident of the state of Indiana. However, my master's is through a Texas college. So the majority of some of the stuff that I am learning about, while it is federal and as a whole, like federal law, there's a lot of Texas code. And so I'm like, wait a minute.
Yeah.
This isn't what it is for me. So I'm having to do this like balancing act. So there's differences for everything. And each state has their, sovereignty and it's a whole thing. And it really comes down to like, when I was in high school, I hated like government and history. And I feel like I should have paid attention to that more.
A little bit.
I mean, I didn't know that I was going to like law like I do now. So, but you don't know what you don't know. So that's why we try to explain it in a way. Cause there are podcasts and YouTube, streamers and content creators that are pushing out true law, but it's sometimes so hard to follow because legal language is very hard to follow. So as somebody who has spent the past 6 weeks in depth looking at how to read statutes and things like that, I'm trying to offer this in a way that makes it a little more user friendly. And that's kind of what we're hoping to do.
I have a question.
Who? You personally?
Well, for the podcast.
Oh, okay.
Did we have a fourth segment before? In the early parts of this?
It's still on there. I didn't delete. It's still on. So if you go into.
Well, I just want to know if we're covering it or not.
Let me see.
Because I made a graphic for it, and I don't know. I don't want to throw it up there if we're not talking about it.
Let me see.
Sorry, we're doing some housekeeping.
If it's the one I don't want to talk about, I probably took it off.
Let me see here. I can pull it up, actually. Give me just a moment.
There is 4. Is that not 4? We talked about the Costa or
no.
1. Costa Concordia. And then we talked about PuppyGram. And then we talked about.
What is segment 4? What does that say?
I see nothing. Oh, no, I didn't want to talk about that. You are more than welcome to talk about that. I had that in there.
Nope.
And then there was some even more. And we're not going to tease you. I will discuss that in just a minute. But in regard to the 4th segment, okay, there's a lot going on right now between like Indiana, Kentucky, and Senates and Can you pull that? Oh, you don't even have it up.
No.
I was going to say.
I don't, because you told me there was an updated one, so I have it.
There was an updated one, and I pulled it because I didn't want to talk about it. Because
All right, that's fine. Then we'll shut it down.
No, it was very political in the aspect of it really wasn't true crime centered or legal centered. It was more of like it's politics side of.
It's a political headline.
Yeah, and it was basically, you know, with Mitch McConnell. And
right. Which we're not going to.
We were going to throw it in if we had some time. And then from what everything, the spin that they were putting on it, excuse me again, and like the articles I was finding and things like that, I was like, this is literally just trying to be a political play. And I'm like, I don't want to. So we weren't going to discuss it. We were going to kind of tie that into like, you know, the Senate and the House, but that's a long, drawn out, you know.
Want to talk about upcoming this week?
Yeah, we could talk about upcoming this week.
Okay. What are we doing? You're the one that does everything. I just do this.
He's just here. He's just like the. All right. Let me make my screen bigger. Can you make it bigger? It shrunk again. Wait, hang on.
Oh my goodness. It's right there.
There we go. Sorry. Okay, you already read that one. All right. So, anybody got any ideas? I like to do this part. This one's fun. Anybody got any ideas what Wednesday's live's going to cover?
No telling.
Got to give some feedback. I love the chat. And also, if you're in the chat, give us a like, give us a share. And remember, you want to follow and you want to subscribe on YouTube so that way you get all the updates. And I have been trying to get some clip pulls. So some of those key fun moments that we've had in our lives, you may see them floating around as short clips.
By the way, Matt, I am not reading OSHA regulations. Sorry. No, thank you. Hi, Mary.
Hello, Mary. All right. No one's going to take any guesses on what. Has anybody seen anything? Here's something I do want to ask you before we go into what we're going to cover. I kind of have an idea, and I've. Funky state laws. Hey, I want to know what. When I do this, I do sit down and I look and I'm thinking, okay, I try to map out Monday, Wednesday, Friday. And I do put into account, like, what do I think people would be interested in hearing? So, or like, what's the biggest thing that I keep seeing where there's like this side and this side, and it's like, wait, what's the facts? I didn't want to say truth, but like, what's the fact of this minus this spin or that spin? So that's where I do get some of the stories that we cover. But what else do you all think? And it has to be in like a true crime or private investigator or law kind of realm. What would be some topics? Or is there a case that you are looking? Oh, Haley.
Haley hasn't been here.
Where have you been?
Haley hasn't been in the chat.
My child.
No, she wasn't here last week. We talked about that on Friday.
Yeah, she was.
We covered a little bit again today.
She clearly has not caught the replay.
Yeah.
I still love you.
I did just get the replay posted this morning, I think.
We did. So here's the thing. You got to watch the replay. And then if you still have questions, Haley, you can ask me tomorrow.
Yeah, reach out to our DMs.
Yeah, see? So there's a lot going on. And maybe because I follow a lot of different things. Like I said, there's some really neat things that you can do, which I kind of thought about sometime talking about. So there's an FBI bulletin, and you can sign up to get that. And so I think it's once a month. You get that where it'll tell you like who's their most wanted, some of their biggest cases that they've, really interesting thing. So I do get that. So there are some of these things that I get from stuff like that, if that makes sense. So I kind of follow a little more than maybe what's in like mainstream media. So
a lot more.
So if there's something that you have seen covered or, in news or whatever, and you have some questions, or maybe you think it would be a good topic to discuss, bring it on. Send us a DM, put it in the chat, any of the things. We'll cover it. Maybe, potentially. depending on what it is. But I will stop teasing and I will tell you what I'm thinking of, unless some major thing breaks between or over the next couple days. We're looking at Wednesday doing a full segment on a case out of Vinton County, Ohio. It's been all over the news. 16 children found in a home, 4 adults facing felony child endangerment charges. We are going to cover more specifics, and we're going to walk through what prosecutors have to prove, what's happened with the bond and custody since the arrests.
Matt, this is a wild story, man. If you haven't heard about this yet, holy crap.
It's a big one. And that's why
this is recent, very recent.
Yeah, so it's very recent. It's unfolding as we speak, and we're going to try to cover it. And so there may be less segments on Wednesday, just because that one, I don't think I can do it quickly.
Yeah.
And again, so going back,
it's gonna evolve too. So we'll be coming back to that.
Right, 100%. So I believe it was Mad Bark, right, where you were talking about the county and the state. Yeah, I did see that. I think that was you. If not,
yes, it was.
Okay,
Maddie.
Okay, so here's the thing. We'll touch a little bit on the difference between like state and federal when we discuss Wednesday's case.
Yeah, because that's going to fall into a lot of federal jurisdiction.
And yes, because so there's, if you want to do a little homework or if you enjoy the rabbit hole, yeah, so there's a lot of moving parts with that. And in regard to children, I guess it could be anyone, victims in general.
Yeah, but crimes against children it's scrutinized more.
So they've got a lot of, when you think of like interstate, so anything that crosses between like one state into the next state typically falls within like felony. And then you've got some of your general where, again, I'm classifying broadly. I'm not quoting this specifically, okay? But a lot of times with like children and like missing children, a lot of times that kind of goes directly to FBI and has that FBI involvement, just because your state or local doesn't necessarily have as much experience.
And Jess, what you're saying, yes, it does make your mind wander to think, are these possibilities? However, that's not what we're here for. We just want to cover, what's being reported.
Yes, what's being presented and how they have to continue to try to work through this
But
case.
yes, those questions, a lot of people have those questions right now, and it's awful.
And there's a lot.
We're not going to cover it yet. We're just teasing
I'm just saying there's a lot. Like a lot of those cases, because people really get confused on, so you have like a child abduction case, and that child is raised with their captor and then in turn becomes a parent.
Yeah.
The mind, the side, and I say this because, so my degree is criminal justice, but I have a concentration in forensic psychology. So I spent a lot of time in public ed, and then I also had a stint in Department of Child Services. So I have a lot of learned experience when it comes to children and some of that psychology with it. So there's a lot that goes into the psychology of the mind when it comes to your trafficking, and then, potentially mothering a child in relation to that. So it's not just easy, this could get, I hate to say it that way, but this case could
we're gonna keep it
more
we're gonna keep
per
it
the record.
Yeah,
like,
we're gonna keep it per the
yeah.
record, and try to keep it a little more simpler, especially for Wednesday, because we do have some other things that we're gonna be talking about.
Yeah,
on
sorry,
Wednesday.
that took a long turn. And I will say, if this kind of case is very interesting in a way that it just, you try to wrap your head around
And
it.
Matt,
the Glass Castle.
Yeah, that is. Oh gosh, that was a tough one.
I'm just saying.
That was a tough movie.
There's a book you can actually.
I don't
strongly
read. I
encourage
don't
you
read.
to read
Come
the
on,
book first.
I'm from a trailer
But,
park.
yeah,
I don't read.
I know. Well,
All right.
actually, hey, I got the book upstairs if
I
you
know.
want to read it.
No,
I'm just saying.
I've got a book up there that I bought that I haven't read.
Yeah, I think I got him
All
one
right.
book.
On Wednesday
Sorry,
night, also,
continuing on.
we're going to be talking about a new Kentucky law that just took effect that changes who can legally carry
I had
a
to throw this in.
concealed weapon. So,
Yep.
Matt, this will be a good one for you to hear up on. That law,
No, he struggles with reading.
yeah, bad, if you can't tell. That law includes 18 to 20-year-olds for the first time. We're breaking down exactly what changed, what didn't, and how it's different just across the river here in Indiana. Because
Yes.
we do have different laws about concealed carry,
We do.
and they just changed recently too.
I thought this one when I saw this come across, I was like, wait a minute. I gotta discuss this because
What?
what do you mean? I think this is very interesting considering the fact. So we have, what is it?
They don't care.
Kentuckiana.
Well, yeah.
Kentuckiana as a
Right,
whole. Like you'll
right.
hear that a lot.
But you
Kentuckiana,
cross that
because-
river, you're in a different state.
Exactly, but people don't necessarily.
You got different laws.
Yes. See, you need to know. People don't put any effort into that. They're just like, well, I'm just gonna carry it. FAFO.
Yeah, South Dakota, you can have a whole arsenal up there.
Well, it's because there's not a lot up there.
Hey, North Dakota's the same.
I'm just saying.
But good luck getting a, what is it? A firearms tag to take a buck or any deer in North Dakota if you're not a resident. I'm just saying.
That's because like game hunting, like
Yeah.
for sport.
No.
Yeah, like going around. Like there are people like,
No.
well, you've talked about that before. You've talked about your whole like,
Yeah, but
hey,
I'm
let's do
talking
one of
about
these expedition hunts
Mhm.
where they people buy this land and then they're like, here, come hunt
Yeah,
on my.
and yeah, South Dakota has that too because the whole management of
Thank you.
deer and the wildlife. I get that, but
I'm just
how
saying.
about a homesteader that's out there
You're
that
not
is trying to
homesteading.
live off the land? But there are homesteaders out there that are trying to live off the land, and they don't always want, domesticated animals to slaughter and eat. They actually want to experience wild game
Well,
and live off that. And we have these laws that say, yeah, but if you hit it with your car, you can keep it. Yep. Makes sense, doesn't it?
I don't
See?
think I'd want it.
There's a lot of stuff that I don't agree with state laws, especially when it comes
But
to.
they each are allowed to govern
Uh-huh.
within reason.
Uh-huh. And it's the people who are supposed to make those
We're not covering
and vote in those.
that is not in any of
laws.
this topic that we are discussing.
I
So
know.
we're going to skip right on down to
No,
the next section.
we're going on to what we're talking about Friday.
Hold on to your hats.
Oh, gosh.
I think Fridays are always going to be hello KO.
Friday's going to be.
Fridays, I think
Wild.
we're starting to really come into this where Fridays are probably going to be like the.
Yeah, she took my Friday going out night, so
So
gotta
we go
do
out
something.
Saturdays now. Well, anyways, we're gonna have a good time because Friday, and I know that somebody's gonna try to come at me because I am. This is one of those things where I'm gonna try to keep my opinion to myself.
Mm-hmm.
A new 2-part documentary is dropping that claims to have new evidence in one of the most talked about murder cases in American history. Scott Peterson.
Gosh.
We are not reviewing the documentary. We're telling you what's actually sitting in the court record versus what's in the film and why a judge already rejected most of these claims a few months ago.
Yeah.
So, we're also going to say that you don't want to miss this Wednesday or this Friday.
We were actually in the same building as Scott Peterson, were we not?
When?
CrimeCon?
No, his attorney.
Oh, he wasn't there?
No, he's in, I believe he's in prison in Ohio.
Oh, it was his attorney. See how much that shows how much I paid
I'm
attention.
99% positive, but I've slept since then.
Yeah, I thought he got out. No? I gotta I gotta look that up.
I don't know. Don't quote me. See, this is why I don't like some of these off the moment things. There's a lot up here, but I cannot keep all of the information.
Jess says he's still in prison. Yeah, okay. It was his attorney that was at CrimeCon.
These people are going to get mad at me.
See, we didn't go to that.
I didn't go to that. We heard the scufflings of people talking about it amongst themselves at CrimeCon.
There was.
Okay?
So at CrimeCon, at CrimeCon, they do sessions with speakers.
Panels. I think they're called panels. Or
they're just sessions.
I don't know.
They're talking sessions where these.
Hello, Natty.
These people, there's talk about exonerating him,
Sarah.
which we're going to talk about on Friday with the new documentary with the new evidence.
Hello, Kimberly.
Yet the documentary obviously has old information because it's dropping soon and it's already been filmed. So all of that has already taken place, which a lot of people don't know about. I know. We're not going to go into our opinion of.
Although this Monday, Wednesday, Friday lives are supposed to be our opinion, analysis.
Yes, but we're not giving opinions on,
Here's the
stuff like
okay,
that.
I'm gonna go ahead and say this one thing. When we say things in the media like new evidence, that causes a red flag for me personally. Because in theory, if we think about this as, say, for instance, a crime that occurs today, at the time of the crime, there's only so much evidence, correct? Now, what would potentially create potential new evidence later? Sorry, in my head, it would be potential investigatory discrepancies or things like that. Like, you can't now.
Yeah,
I just find
after a case has been tried and done, boom, there it is. Yes, there can still be evidence that hasn't been brought public because it wasn't authorized to be brought in court.
And again, that's a different thing. If we're talking about evidence,
we don't know yet.
I'm just saying to the people,
right?
If there's a stop calling it new. We need to give things more of a name that is relevant to what it actually is. So, for instance, if this is evidence that was ruled to be inadmissible for this trial, then that needs to be the label that we're putting on it. But that doesn't sell in the media.
Oh, Matt, it happens in every single trial, and it's unbelievable.
Yes.
The amount of evidence that gets suppressed in court by defenses.
And again, then you've got the fact that there are some judges where they say, okay, close to the public, or we're only going to allow 10 people from the public.
That's different
No,
because everything in the court is reported and it's public record unless it's sealed by a judge. Or it's I'm thinking
a juvenile.
Of it.
Juvenile.
Not always. Not always.
No, it's not always.
When they're tried by an adult, or tried as an adult.
I'm talking about, like, in some of your cases.
And grand juries, for the most part, are sealed as well. But I will say, just talking about evidence that isn't shown in a court and doesn't get publicly documented, the amount of that is unbelievable.
So, okay, so I'll briefly just touch on that because I think it's relevant and it's kind of a precursor.
Maddie wants to know all the tea about closed to the public offense.
So here's the thing.
There's a reason for that.
No, there's not.
Look, she's like, don't do it.
No, there is absolutely no reason that we should close the court because
yes, there is.
No, that is one of your constitutional rights.
Yep, and that constitutional right,
speedy trial.
That constitutional right gets people wrongfully convicted.
Okay.
All the time.
Yeah, I'll play devil's advocate there too because there are a large majority of people that are sitting in prison today that are convicted of crimes that they never committed. And that's all I'm going to say about that.
Why is that? Because they were put on public display in front of people.
Well, That was a jury of their peers. Again, like I've said,
because the jury everything was put on a public display.
And the judge ruled what could or couldn't be shown to the jury,
And
therefore swaying the jury to proceed.
You're one person of 12, and you have an entire community that hates
It's
you
going to be a hung jury.
because of the decision you made.
Hung jury 100%.
Just saying.
That's why they will not call me for jury duty. Hello, Ashley.
That aspect of our justice system is broken. And I have a different opinion when it comes to making these things public. I do.
I think that in this kind of situation, I don't think it's this. I don't necessarily think it's the system that's broken. I think there are players in the game that change the rules. You're going to sit there and shake your head no to me, because I can tell you one case example where
I know exactly what you're talking about. I understand. And
you don't think
the
key players in that game altered the game to give the outcome that they wanted? They used the law
they didn't even have to do that. They didn't even have to.
Well, I know the public opinion was already swayed one way or the other. It didn't matter. But by imposing.
It's fine, Jess. I got it. You were saying that, agreeing with what Maddie had said.
You're fine. No, I'm just saying there so much to cover.
We could go down a huge rabbit hole when it comes to
Tanya. Hello, Tanya.
When it comes to the public getting information,
it's filtered.
Yes and no. It gives the public the opportunity to formulate their own opinion.
No, wrong. Depending on which news channel that you watch every night for your nightly news.
All right. I'll digress because I'll get heated about this. I'm not even kidding. Because I have been in a position of law enforcement. I've done investigations. I've had, people across the table from me that were very bad people. Do those very bad people don't deserve to be ridiculed and treated like a guilty person before their day in court? Let me just say that.
No, I agree with that 100%. And we're talking about the same case.
Oh, I'm talking about all cases when it comes down to it. Okay. Even the worst of the worst.
You still are supposed to be given certain rights. And that's the thing. So I'll say this, okay? This is what I will say.
I think that information going out to the public of being charged with, arrested for, and all of that going out to the public.
Because there's such a misunderstanding of the law.
Right. And that's what we're trying to teach.
Thank you. Full circle.
I know.
Ba-dum-bum. No, what I'm saying, what I'm trying to get across is that, yes, I was for a very long time, I was like, I am 100% for the prosecution. These are my people. Mm-hmm. I am all for prosecution. And then I started to see some things happen. Yeah. Okay. And so then I thought in my head, wait, whoa, no, I'm all for the defense. Okay. I'm on the defense's side. And then I started to see some other things. And then I thought, wait, whoa, back up.
They both sides play the game.
100%. But what I'm saying is, as a citizen of this country, mm-hmm. I would like to know that if something happened, my peers,
that's right,
my
Jessica,
system would protect my rights. Now,
that's what you'd hope.
Do I want, and I look at things from the other side, say, for instance, something happened to my child, I would want answers. I would want an investigation. I would want closure. But I don't think that you can say that in the majority of situations, the case and the trial was fair to all parties, where the victim gets the actual justice. And that's why I don't like when people, because you will find in a lot of podcasts, they say, I'm pro-victim, or I'm pro this, or I'm pro that. No, I don't necessarily claim to be any thing because I'm pro
Facts.
truth, pro facts, pro. I'm from the question era, I guess. I am in like I want to know the
Yeah.
truth.
Sprout was that person that asked all the questions when they were a kid.
I guarantee it. It's stuck.
You just don't remember.
I don't. Why? But why?
Yeah.
Why?
Why do you put the worm on the hook?
Why?
Why do you put it on there 4 times?
So that's that. I mean, it's the same thing. Like, I want to know that if I am in either of those situations, I'm going to get, see, thank you. I see both sides personally. And again, that's where, and we will see that in media where it's like, I'm sorry, but when we start saying things like, well, this person this or this person that, and, they are charged with this, people don't understand what that means when you say charged. Or there was the huge misconception where they were arrested, so there has to be proof that they did it, so therefore they're guilty.
Yeah. That's just, it's not the case at all.
And there's very few that try to get that education out there.
Yeah.
And I'm not claiming to be the smartest or know all of the things. What I'm trying to do is advocate for all parties so that there's a general understanding, so people have an understanding to be able to like protect themselves moving forward. And when people say, well, that could never happen to me, or things like that, it could.
Very well could.
It very well could.
It happens to people every day.
I think that people should be educated, and not a sense that I am like, again, I'm not the most smart person in the world, but I do a lot of research on things because I want to understand. And it comes from a point and a place where I was misled in some things. And so that's kind of, it's hard to understand. And after you have sat and, we have canons of interpretation, how you're supposed to interpret statutes and things like that. It's very in depth. So when you see the news blurbs that come on, it's hard sometimes for people to really grasp that. So that was the whole point, the concept behind the podcast and the Monday, Wednesday, Friday lives. And I'm sure we're going to get some kind of negative backlash at some point, but
any feedback is positive feedback. That's what I say.
He's a little bit different than me.
Any publicity is positive publicity.
What is that saying? No such thing as bad press?
That's right.
I don't necessarily agree with that. But anyway, we will continue as long as there is an audience that's willing to listen. And if you have found anything that we have said, discussed, or you think there's other things you'd like us to discuss, I really, really, really ask that you share far and wide, because if you have benefited in any way, shape, or form from anything that we have said, and you feel like somebody else would like to be in on the conversation, we would,
or think that they could contribute.
Yes.
If they have a wealth of knowledge that.
Love you all, Jess. We'll see you Wednesday.
See you, Jess. Love you guys.
We want to continue to get the feedback.
Yes. And if you don't want to miss Wednesday or Friday, make sure you hit the follow on TikTok. Hit the remind button, the bell, the notification bell.
I don't even know what all of them are anymore. But
on YouTube, again, we are streaming on YouTube as well. If you like that platform more, I know not everybody has TikTok, not everybody has YouTube, but
that's why we try to be a little bit on all, because depending on the demographic, they're different.
That's what we're trying to do.
Favors what?
We're trying to figure out, where our reach is the most.
We need a home.
Right. But please subscribe. And if you want to support us even more, our website, the CaseWalkerChronicles.com.
Yeah, we do have a website.
We have a Patreon set up there.
We do have the podcast. Check that out, the Casewalker Chronicles. Season 1 is finished.
Any donations or anything, any feedback that we receive on there, we put that straight into what we're doing here. Honestly, it goes straight into, whether it's helping us pay for what are some of the accounts that we have to pay for, like
we pay for a lot. We do have like our domains. We
Yeah,
also pay, I do have like
to look
my
up
newspapers.
information,
Yep.
to
we
run
do
the
Docs Pop.
website, all that stuff costs.
Yeah, we have a lot of different.
YouTube during business hours, TikTok
Yep.
after. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, we're on, like I said, we're on everything. We have a website. If you want to kind of see some of what, when I say that I do research, you can go to the Casewalker Chronicles, our website, and we have
See
the
all the show
Casewalker method.
notes.
Yeah, we have our Casewalker method. So you can see kind of what that means when I tell you I've gone down a rabbit hole. That's all there. Again, this is the Monday, Wednesday, Friday thing is more supposed to be interactive because we wanted the feedback. We wanted to be able to interact. Podcasts are great, except that it was kind of like we weren't getting comments on things like on the actual show. So it was kind of hard to tell. Are people understanding? Are we doing? And it is different. The way we approach our podcast, I will be honest, it's different. I'm not like sitting here telling you a story. We follow the docket.
Mm-hmm.
And depending on which state you're in, depends on what that is. Some states have it, some states don't. But we follow along with the court record. If the court records are available, we have done record requests.
Mm-hmm.
So again, we try to cover a lot of different avenues. We try to bring, the listener, the viewer in. We strongly just want you guys to be a part of it. So if there's anything that you would like us to discuss or a case that you would like us to, I will say this is more, we do have like a submit our case on Casewalker, so where we can do like a deep dive in a case. But if it's something that's like current going on right now, that's more of our Monday, Wednesday, Friday lives.
Mm-hmm.
So I hope that kind of cleared things up. And again,
Clear as mud.
that's what I like to say. And again, people love to scroll. I don't necessarily think that our lives or our replays are scroll. I think that if you would stop and actually listen. And again, with the podcast, I do tell everyone, start at episode 1.
Yes.
You have to start at episode 1 and follow chronologically because there is a season arc that plays throughout. That's all I'm going to say about that. But at this point, I feel like this is a great stopping point for tonight. I feel like it didn't go too terribly long.
Yeah, hour and a half.
But again, we hope everyone enjoyed tonight. We hope you come back. We'll be here Wednesday
at 9.
9 o'clock.
Where the headlines end.
The details begin. We'll see you guys Wednesday. Have a good night.
Thank you.